Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. And hey, it is the day after Valentine's Day, so I hope everybody had a good Valentine's Day. I had a great Valentine's Day. I wasn't planning to do anything, ended up doing something. It worked out well, so a good night. Yeah, really good time. I am still in Asia, but it's almost a 1 month countdown to me heading back to Europe. I'm excited. You know, I enjoy coming back to Asia and kind of being able to kind of put down roots a little bit to get a few different projects done, get my websites, my companies, everything together. But I get antsy, and I've been here since November. I left Istanbul like November 18th, I believe it was, and I've been in Asia ever since. And I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. Like, if I got a flight tomorrow, I'd take off for real. But in the meantime, all I can do is dream. So I wanted to put together this video for you guys about my favorite cities in Europe. Now, I'm heading back on this trip, and the main reason is going to be about a month. I'll be there to do a few small assignments, but to also knock off 3 new countries. And that would actually only leave me 2 countries. So I'll be going to Belarus, I'll go to Malta, I'll go to Luxembourg, which are all 3 new countries for me. And then I'll still have Albania and Cyprus left, and that'll be the last 2 countries in Europe I'll have. And I'm probably gonna leave one of those to be like the last country I visit on this whole project thing. All right, so I think I have a pretty good breadth of knowledge on European cities. A little bit of background on Europe for me. Europe was the first continent I visited when I joined the military. I lived in Spain, I've lived in Hungary, I lived shortly in Romania. I did a little bit of time in the UK. I lived in Turkey. Germany also. I lived in Frankfurt. And most of that time was when I was in the military, and then as a civilian, I was in Poland. Oh yeah, I keep forgetting about Poland. I lived in Poland for a little while, Hungary as a civilian, and Romania. Those are all as civilians. So I've got a pretty good breadth of knowledge about Europe and most of the major European cities. So here we go. This is my list. This is in no particular order, even though it is a list. This is in no ranked order. I like each place for different reasons. So I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about what I love and really like about these places, a little bit of history that I had there, as well as some things that I might not like, you know, and you guys might. First city that I really like in Europe is London. And London is an easy choice. I think most people like London or they hate London a lot. But for me, it started as a hate London. I hated London initially because I just thought all the people were assholes in London. Like, they are overly assholes in London. And I go to London at least once a year. And actually, on average, I want to say it's 5 times a year. So within the last, I'd say 10 years, I've been in London at least once a year. I go beginning of November every year for World Travel Market, which is a big travel conference for travel professionals. And it is a miserable time to be in London, believe me. And the first few years that I would go to London, I only interacted with business professionals, people who were in the military, in either the British or the American military. And it was just not fun. It was okay. We would go, we'd get trash, we'd party a little bit, but I never got to really experience any of the culture. But as time went on and I met more travel professionals and locals who lived in London, I discovered different areas of London and the history and the background and identity of the city, and I found the real London. I found places like Greenwich. Like, I absolutely love Greenwich. Greenwich Village is absolutely amazing. Greenwich is everything that I thought London was. The London I discovered early on was just skyscrapers and douchebags and the tube and all that chaos. But then I found Greenwich, which is far more laid back. You know, people got flowers on their windowsills. It's a real chill British place. I love Greenwich. Camden. I love Camden. I love the Camden Market. It's one of my favorite places in the world. Absolutely brilliant. So if you get a chance to go, definitely hit up the Camden Market. Now, I've got quite a few videos on this channel about my time in London. The past few years have been really great for London. But the problem with London is the same problem with every major city. It's so damn big. And as a tourist, if you don't know where to go, it's easy to find an area that's overpriced, and you probably won't enjoy. So definitely do your research, and hit me up if you guys have any questions about London. Hit me up. I feel like I know it well, and I've got a lot of friends there. So London is the first city that I really love in Europe. So the next one is my European home away from home, which is Berlin. I absolutely love Berlin. I'm likely going to buy property in Berlin within the next 5 years or so. I plan to make it one of my European hubs. I absolutely adore that city. The cool thing that I love about Berlin, and I think I discovered Berlin right when I was making a transition from a more seedy place, which I don't have anything wrong with. It still has a seedy side, which I love, but it's becoming more of a hub city, more international city, really innovative, a lot of great business opportunities in Berlin. Absolutely love the food culture, really, really good push. Side note, when I lived in Frankfurt, I was stationed. We had a U.S. Air Force base in Frankfurt, and I discovered doner kebabs there. And it's funny because my favorite doner kebabs, even though I lived in Turkey, absolutely love Turkey, are German. They're made in German, and I believe Berlin still has the world's largest Turkish population outside of Turkey. I have to double check that, but I'm pretty confident on that one. It is just a great city. Wonderful food, easy to get around, and it's surprisingly walkable. Like in Berlin, I walk a lot, and I walk a lot anywhere, but Berlin's a surprisingly walkable city. The people are just overly nice. I don't know where people, and I've been hearing that people say like Germans are mean and they're kind of assholes. No, Germans are pretty fucking nice. They'll just tell you how it is. That's what I love about Germans. Is like if you say something stupid, they'll call you out on it. That's what I really enjoy about Germans. What don't I like about Berlin? Not a lot that I don't like about Berlin, honestly. It's a little expensive, but it's Germany, it's Western Europe. But there's not much about Berlin I don't like. And it really, honestly, is one of my favorite cities. I can't think of much. If I have to pick something, it's the price. I think it's just a little expensive. So the next city I love is Barcelona. Barcelona is dope. And I think Spain might be one of my most frequented countries. I go to Spain quite often, and Barcelona really, really, like from the moment I set foot in Barcelona, and I actually didn't visit Barcelona until like 2009, 2010. I visited Barcelona very late in my travel career. It's simply because we just didn't have any Air Force bases there close for me to go. But yeah, man, but I like Barcelona, but I didn't love Barcelona until recently. A couple years ago, I did a gay pride tour through Europe with hashtag My Gay Pride as a straight ally. And it showed me a different side of Barcelona. There's this area called it's called Gay Example. It's like Gay Example. I can't really pronounce it because everybody said it differently, but it's like Gay Example. And it's such a really cool, it is hipster shit for sure. It's like gentrification around the world, but it's a really cool cafe feel, good vibe, nice people. I really, really enjoy that area. There's a hotel. If you're straight, you have to go to this hotel. It's called the Axel. It's the Axel Hotel. It's a gay-friendly hotel, which I didn't even know was a thing. I guess if I thought about it, I would realize it was a thing that's needed, but at the time that I visited, it's a gay hotel that specializes. Anybody can go there, but it's a gay-friendly hotel that does these gay events, and it's really, really interesting to see. So check out the Axel Hotel if you can. What I don't like about Barcelona isn't really Barcelona's fault. It's the concentration of tourists there. It just makes getting around the city a pain in the ass sometimes, because tourists just really congregate in small areas, and it feels like Barcelona wasn't really designed that way. It was designed to be a living city, and especially when you get to places around like Sagrada Familia. Side note, if you're thinking about going to Barcelona, my favorite hostel is called St. Jordi's Sagrada Familia. And St. Jordi's has like 3 or 4 properties in Barcelona, but my favorite one is that one. That's near the Sagrada Familia, is within walking distance. But like if you go to the area around Sagrada Familia, you'll notice that area is not designed for people to like congregate in large groups. It's just not that way. The Gracia neighborhood is it's like another city. Like it's funny because Barcelona is cool because a lot of people who live in Barcelona don't consider themselves Spanish. Like, I don't want to go too deep into history, but they consider themselves Catalan, and which is a different. Catalonia is a different country. They have a flag and their own language, and it's really intriguing thing to see. So yeah, I absolutely love Barcelona, but the one thing that I really don't like is that the city's not designed for tourists. So, but it's a highly touristed city, and the tourists congregate in different areas. That's kind of a pain in the ass. All right, so the next place is a place that you probably won't see in a lot of people's top cities list, but it's Dubrovnik in Croatia. I fell in love with Dubrovnik accidentally. I wasn't even going to go to Dubrovnik. I ended up going to Dubrovnik because I have always dreamed of photographing Plitvice Lake National Park, which is absolutely stunning. So we flew into Zagreb, or did we take the train? I can't remember, so long ago. But we got to Zagreb, spent the day in Zagreb, which is a terrible city, by the way. I absolutely hate Zagreb. And then we went from there to Plitvice, and then Plitvice to Split. Now we got to Split, and I hated Split also. I absolutely hated Split. But to get down to Montenegro, I believe it was, or was it Bosnia? I can't exactly remember that part. But we had to stop for a couple days in Dubrovnik for some reason. And when we got to Dubrovnik, man, I would even say like an hour before we got to Dubrovnik, because we took a bus. I was traveling with a female friend of mine. It was just stunningly beautiful. It's like one of those places that catches you off guard with how beautiful it was. And I believe it was like August time frame. It was like high tourist season when we went. Man, it was just the waters were perfectly blue. The crowds were there, but they weren't too thick. So I'm leaning towards August, like when the tourist crowd started to thin out. The city is just beautifully preserved. A sunset walk along the walls of the old city where they filmed Game of Thrones is it's breathtakingly beautiful. And I said this in an article that I wrote a few years ago, that Dubrovnik is quite possibly the most romantic city. And it was funny, thank God she's female, my friend's female, but we weren't by ourselves, you know, so it wasn't really awkward. But if you're walking around by yourself alone in Dubrovnik, you really realize how coupled up everybody is. You know, we met a bunch of couples on honeymoons. Everybody's like renewing their vows, having weddings there, doing photo shoots. It's insane because it's such a beautiful city. And also there's a bunch of islands around it that you can take like day trips to, which are kind of cheap. I want to say the day trips were like $40, $50 or something like that. It's really, really cheap, and you got lunch. So those are really, really good. The thing that I don't like about Dubrovnik is there's not much to do. It's not really, I mean, you can do everything in a city in like a day. It's not really much, but it's a great city to just kind of chill. Like if you're looking for something romantic to do, it's an amazing city for romance, but it's not a lot to do in the city. And it's a little pricey. People were saying that Dubrovnik's more expensive than Split. I disagree. I think Split was a little bit more expensive than Dubrovnik. And for the region, for the Balkans region, it is kind of expensive. It's definitely an expensive place. So Dubrovnik. So this is a city that a lot of people don't actually go to. It's Tallinn, Estonia. I've only been to Tallinn. I've been to Tallinn 3 times, and it's still one of my favorite cities out of everywhere I've been in Europe. The thing that I love about Tallinn is it knows who it is. Tallinn doesn't try to be something it's not. The first time I went to Tallinn was, and this, you know what, my love for Tallinn, now that I'm thinking about it, may have something to do with the experience, the first experience I had with the city. It was like in March, so it was still snowing up there, and I was on a cruise from, I was in Stockholm, Helsinki, Tallinn, St. Petersburg. It was probably the worst experience of my life. It was absolutely, I hated every moment of it almost. But when I got to Tallinn, it was so beautiful, and the city was so well preserved, that people were so kind, and the food. They also have a Texas restaurant there, by the way. I wish I would have took more pictures back then. But Tallinn, I fell in love with Tallinn because it's like a fairy tale. Like in the winter, it's just a beautiful old town center. The people are so nice, absolutely beautiful. By the way, some of the world's most beautiful people, Estonians, absolutely beautiful. What I didn't like about the city, I found it was a little bit expensive. It was a little bit pricey. The food variety wasn't there. The food was good, but not very not a large variety of food, especially if you're looking for international food. I found some people to be a little standoffish. They were nice, but they weren't really that nice in Estonia. In Thailand, excuse me. I don't want to label the whole country because Thailand's the only place I've been in Estonia. Yeah, that's all. That's it with in Thailand. It's one of my favorite cities. It's beautiful. I had a lot of fun there, but yeah, I don't know. I'm on the fence if I would recommend it or if I wouldn't recommend it. I don't know, but it's still one of my favorite places. All right, and last but not least is Stockholm. I love Stockholm. I love Stockholm for a lot of reasons. I love Stockholm because mainly because of the people. Like, Swedish people are so damn smart and so nice that it is just a pleasure to be around them. Like, to be around people who speak 3-4 languages, who, you know, have that compassion and empathy that a lot of Western nations lack. They look out for each other. They look out for us as tourists, as guests. They open their homes, and their hearts, and their culture, and their history. To me in particular, it was absolutely wonderful experiences that I've had there. The city is beautiful. I mean, Stockholm is a beautiful city. I recommend you take the hop on, hop off bus tour. I was able to see the entire city in a day. But here's a quick story. The first time I went to Stockholm was on the same trip that I went to Estonia, was Tallinn. And I was downtown when Ahmadinejad. This was when the Iranian president Ahmadinejad was in town. So a lot of the roads were blocked off. And our hop on, hop off tour couldn't go. We had to wait. So I decided, and it was literally me. Like, it was only me because it was March and there's really no tourists in Sweden, Stockholm in March apparently. So I get off the bus and he was like, hey, we're going the next route. Because it's color coded, there's like 3 different routes. So he's like, the yellow route is going to come in like an hour, so you have time to go. I'm like, all right, sweet. So I ended up going into the Opera House, I want to say. I want to say it was the Opera House, which is right in the city center near a river. Man, I need to go back and do some more and figure out the exact name. So I go in, and the door's wide open. The door's open. And people are playing, and then the girl who was working there saw me and was shocked. Like, she was just shocked, like, and we just started talking. She was young, and she was, oh, where are you from? I'm from the U.S. And then she was like, oh, I want to go to the U.S. and study. Sometimes she was a student. And I heard the music play. I was like, hey, can I, you know, go in here? She was like, yeah, come with me. She took me backstage. So I'm like on the side of the stage watching, I guess it's the Swedish National Orchestra practice for the concert that they were going to have that night. So it was just kind of one of those cool experiences where, you know, right place, right time, and just people looking out for people. Like, it was just a really cool experience. So that, you know, I think that's probably part of the reason I love Stockholm, because of the people. It was just so nice and accommodating. What I don't like about Stockholm is the same thing with the other things. It's not much to do from a tourist standpoint. I'm sure if I lived there and I spend more time there, I found a bunch of stuff, I guess. But from the few times I've been there, the most I've spent there was 3 days. I found it to be absurdly expensive and just not a lot to do. So yeah, that was my issue with it. So that's my list of favorite cities in Europe. Again, it's not list ranked, and I'm sure next year my list is probably going to change. You know, there have been cities that have been on the list and been off the list, like Budapest. Like I would give Budapest an honorable mention. The only reason it's not on the list anymore is because last time I went back, it just become saturated. Before I lived there, I loved it. I absolutely loved living in Budapest. But now everybody's discovered it, and the rent is going up, and it's frustrating. So Budapest gets an honorable mention. So tell me in the comments below if you've been to Europe, if you live in Europe, what are your favorite cities in Europe and why? Do you agree with my list? Do you disagree with my list? I know some people are going to disagree with some things I've said about some of these cities. I'm looking forward to getting back. Again, don't forget to share, comment, subscribe if you're not subscribed. And again, leave the world better than you found it. I'll see you guys in the next video.